Chapter 2020, Ancient Sealing Technique. Zhang Yi took the lead, and the other mutants weren't about to fall behind. Now that they had come this far, who wouldn't want to obtain power from an ancient demon god? Even though they knew there were dangers ahead, they had to try. The group kept their distance from each other as they entered the abyss. Soon, everyone sensed Mammon's presence. His enormous body was as eye-catching as a pillar supporting the heavens. Chang Wan arrived at the location, his body suspended in midair, supported by his thin hair. Looking at the huge demon god in front of him, his eyes were cold, as if he was thinking about something. Zhang Yi followed immediately, and from a distance, he saw Chang Wan staring at Mammon's body and didn't dare to get too close. "Brother Chang Wan, what are you waiting for? Do you need our help?" Zhang Yi took the initiative to strike up a conversation. In fact, he was secretly observing the situation, planning to find an opportunity to get Ling's human body first. Chang Wan didn't want to talk to Zhang Yi, but after thinking about it, he felt that Zhang Yi had beaten him once in the world behind the Gate of Light. Perhaps one day, when the world was in chaos, this human might be of some use. He finally said, "There's no time." Zhang Yi's heart sank. "What do you mean there's no time?" Chang Wan said, "The seal has almost completely broken down and can no longer effectively restrain him. The reason he is still in a state of deep sleep is because he was punished by the heavens and dealt a fatal blow by the ancient gods. He is now just repairing his body. Once he has absorbed all the power he got from the northern plains, he will reappear in the human world even more powerful than before." Chang Wan pointed to the rotten and broken chains on the cage around them. "This is proof." Zhang Yi's face darkened. "How long will it take for him to appear in the human world?" Chang Wan said, "At this rate, 10 years at most." Zhang Yi felt as if the sky was about to collapse. Even if he had 10 more years, he wouldn't be able to deal with this thing. Chang Wan said, "I brought something with me this time. It can delay his revival, but only for a short time. His return is inevitable, and no one can reverse this event." Zhang Yi sighed, "Let's delay it as long as we can." The rest of the group had also arrived at this place and heard the conversation between the two. Their expressions were extremely grim. The appearance of Mammon signified that the world would face its greatest disaster. This was only one of the 7 demon kings. If the other 6 demon kings also appeared one after another, the consequences would be unimaginable. Olive was still very polite to Chang Wan and said, "Please, Angel, take action." Chang Wan stared at the huge body of the demon god and raised his right hand towards the sky. In the sky, the complex and huge 8 trigrams formation slowly descended and landed in the dark valley. Suddenly, the darkness was dispelled, revealing everything below. In the gloomy valley, a large number of fallen angels were sealed on the walls. Some had turned into broken white bones, while others were still struggling in the walls, moaning silently. However, Mammon's body was still not illuminated. His single eye was tightly closed, and his huge body gave the impression that once he awoke, he could tear the entire world apart. The white 8 trigrams formation descended like a huge cage, sealing the entire body of the Drucker Titan. The others hid obediently far behind Chang Wan, afraid of being caught in the crossfire. But just as the 8 trigrams diagram was falling, Zhang Yi suddenly heard a cracking sound in his ears. His eyes narrowed and he stared ahead. The sound came from Mammon's head in front of him. He wasn't the only one who heard it. Everyone else heard it too, so clear in the deep valley. The expressions on everyone's faces changed. Could it be that they had miscalculated, and Mammon was going to revive today? If that was the case, then no one present would be able to escape. Chang Wan's expression also changed slightly, but he quickly regained his composure. Since the elders of his clan had sent him here, they would not have made a mistake. The 8 trigrams formation continued to descend, and it was about to seal Mammon's body in hypnosis. Crack! This time, the sound of shattering was even more obvious. Zhang Yi was stunned because he actually saw Mammon's skull crack open. Everyone saw it. They saw a crack open on Mammon's head, and white light spilled out from the crack, like boiling molten iron pouring out from above his pitch-black skull. Crack! The sound of shattering continued, and something was pushing up against Mammon's skull, about to burst out from inside. Everyone even forgot to breathe. They instinctively wanted to do something, but their bodies were frozen in place. They knew very well. If Mammon revived, all their actions would be meaningless. Chang Wan's expression was also very ugly. He sped up the sealing process, and his hair stood on end, like a waterfall of black hair rushing towards Mammon's head, trying to push back whatever was about to burst out. At the same time, he quickly formed 9 hand seals with both hands. Ling, Bing, Do, Zhe, Jia, Shu, Zhu, Qian, Xing. This was the Taoist 9-character mantra, similar to the Buddhist 6-character mantra. However, throughout history, few people knew its true meaning and only used it to ward off evil spirits in misfortune. But now it seemed that it was also a symbol created by the Dragon Clan. Including the 8 trigrams, it was used to seal demon gods. Chang Wan's voice became louder and more urgent, and Zhang Yi could hear the impatience and tension in his tone. Even he found it difficult to remain calm at this moment, as no one knew what would come out of Mammon's head. Heaven and earth are the source of all things. I hold the power of the Tao to subdue demons and dispel evil. The demons have revealed themselves, and their crimes are clear. The imperial decree is urgent as the law. With the secret of the pure jade, transform it into supreme golden light, bind its soul, lock its spirit, seal it in the depths of the 9 hells, and forever end the chaos of the moral world. Demons and evil spirits, retreat quickly. The righteous path shall prevail, the 3 realms shall be peaceful, and all laws shall return to the truth. Now, with my body, I establish this forbidden spell to seal the demons and protect the universe. Chang Wan recited faster and faster, and the huge 8 trigrams above also fell down, pressing down on Mammon's body. But it was too late. A large hole split open in Mammon's head, and a pair of hands as white as jade appeared from inside, gently pushing open Mammon's broken skull. When she completely appeared, everyone was stunned. It was a woman of indescribable beauty. Chapter 2021, The Two-Faced Angel. She was about 3 meters tall, completely white like white jade, radiating a holy light, with long hair hanging down like seaweed, and her closed eyes seemed to be singing for all living things. What? Is this? Is this the demon god Mammon? Zhang Yi shouted in his heart. No, he had clearly seen Mammon in Tianyu Palace, and he shouldn't look like this. The perfect woman slowly raised her head and faced everyone. Everyone was stunned by her beauty. Chang Wan bit his lip tightly and directly raised the bronze box at his side. The huge box suddenly split open and turned into a huge bronze shield engraved with mysterious symbols. On the surface of the shield, complex gears meshed together and slowly rotated. Chang Wan activated the bronze shield, and the 8 trigrams around them rapidly changed. The light and shadows in the entire deep valley flashed continuously, dazzling Zhang Yi and the others. They suddenly felt that this space, which was not very large, had become vast, as if it had turned into a boundless universe. The light was distorted, and the figures around them were not clear. Only Chang Wan and the perfect white-clad female stood in midair, allowing the light and shadows to flow around them without changing in the slightest. The female faced Chang Wan and, when she faced the 8 trigram seal, she finally slowly opened her eyes. The moment she opened her eyes, her entire body underwent a complete change. All the holy aura disappeared in an instant, and a thick black light completely enveloped her. Her pitch-black eyes had no pupils, like hell, as if they were about to devour everything. Behind her, a pair of wings unfolded, one side black and the other wholly white. Zhang Yi finally came to his senses. He knew what was in front of him. This is the Lord of the Netherworld. There is another Lord of the Netherworld in Mammon's sealed place. Zhang Yi was very familiar with that aura. It was an incomparably chaotic feeling, like a monster in a dream. The most distinctive feature was that all lords of the Netherworld had no characteristics of living beings and only acted on instinct. The angel with 2 faces, one black and one white, let out a shrill cry in the sealed place, the sound making one's head feel like it was about to explode. Soon after her cry, a huge black hole was torn open in midair. A familiar figure emerged from the hole. The Lord of the Netherworld, Crow of Doom, had arrived on the battlefield. Immediately, every Lord of the Netherworld they had seen in the past crawled out of the black crack one after another. They varied in size, some only a few meters tall, some as big as a small mountain, and even the body of the giant blood corpse tree king was many times larger than Mammon's body, so only part of it was visible. The Crow of Doom, the blood corpse tree king, the corpse dragon, the mountain of corruption. These familiar and terrifying beings reappeared before everyone. Accompanying them were countless netherwalkers. There were little demons with twisted bodies crawling on the cliff walls, crow soldiers wearing armor that appeared like flying moths, and countless rotting corpses of ancient humans who had died in battle in this sealed land. Only the immortal demon child did not appear, because it had been sealed by the Aoshi clan's sealing technique and could not be summoned back to this place. This scene made everyone's scalp tingle. They had exhausted all their means to deal with these lords of the Netherworld and had only temporarily sealed them away, allowing themselves to escape from their territory. Now, these immortal monsters had all come here. How could they be dealt with? Without a word, everyone subconsciously took out their weapons and prepared for battle. They had no other choice but to fight. Olive looked at Zhang Yi and shouted, "Lord Chaos, where's your Spear of Longinus? Quickly take it out, that thing should work on them." But Zhang Yi was not in a hurry. Wait a moment. There was only one Spear of Longinus, but with so many lords of the Netherworld in front of them, it was impossible to seal them all. He was looking at the source of their existence. The giant titan Mammon, and the two angels standing on his blooming head. The angel emerged from Mammon's head. She can summon other lords of the Netherworld, so does she represent Mammon's spiritual will? Thinking of this, Zhang Yi immediately said to Chang Luan, "Brother Chang Luan, suppress that guy with the long wings first." Chang Luan didn't even glance at Zhang Yi. The hair on his head surged like a waterfall, turning into a net that covered the sky and rushed straight towards the lords of the Netherworld. He actually wanted to seal all the lords of the Netherworld by himself? Zhang Yi was stunned. Did Chang Luan have that kind of ability? Sure enough, no sooner had this thought appeared than the strands of hair were quickly broken by the Lord of the Netherworld as they tried to seal them. On top of the dragon corpse, the wingless elves drew their longbows and loaded golden arrows, which rained down like waves. The mighty golden-armored warriors raised their giant swords, and the purple dragon let out an angry roar, its thunderous power shaking the heavens. All kinds of powerful abilities were unleashed, shattering Chang Luan's black hair. Chang Luan's eyes deepened, and he also felt that he was no match for so many lords of the Netherworld. The lords of the Netherworld charged toward them. Zhang Yi raised his demon sword and shouted to everyone, "These guys are protecting Mammon and won't let us touch him. This proves that we've come to the right place. Mammon hasn't awakened yet. As long as we seal him away, these lords of the Netherworld are nothing to fear. Everyone, let's buy Chang Luan some time so he can complete the sealing ceremony." At this moment, everyone realized that Chang Luan, who possessed the ability to seal Mammon, was the top priority. They had been unable to defeat the lords of the Netherworld before because they couldn't kill these monsters and saw no hope. Now that they had a plan, their confidence was naturally boosted. In an instant, the powerful mutants on the human side began to unleash their supernatural abilities. Odin held two black and silver thunder spears in his hands and rode an 8-winged Pegasus straight towards the Crow of Doom. Olive didn't have time to recite spells, so he simply held a copy of the Dead Sea Scrolls in his left hand and the flaming holy sword in his right hand, leading the Knights Templar to attack the Mountain of Corruption. Everyone burst forth with all their strength at this moment. Perhaps because they were close to Mammon himself, the lords of the Netherworld were extremely aggressive. Even the Flesh Mountains, which only knew how to devour everything in their path, began to open their countless mouths, which were like wounds, and indiscriminately devoured the humans around them.